everyone. Welcome to the afternoon edition of Without a Crystal Ball. I swear I'm going to get you guys a schedule so I can actually be more organized with like what time I go live. I just never know when it's going to happen, depending on what the stories are for the day. And I try to do at least 3 or 4 of these for you. All right. So let's get started to Jenelle. And unfortunately, YouTube will only send you so many notifications. So if you're like expecting YouTube to notify you, I would suggest not expecting that. If you want to know when I go live, make sure to follow me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Actually, I don't really post on Instagram because Instagram is not the best for sharing links. Twitter and Facebook, I update always right before I go live. I have a Facebook page and a Twitter page, and it's all good. So if you remember, we have been talking about Jenelle's brow kit for a while because I love makeup and I love brows. I love my brows sometimes. Other days I fight with my brows, but I'm a big makeup girl. And it was obviously very shocking for me when Jenelle Eason launches a brow kit because, let's be honest, she isn't the most known for like makeup. And I just always think it's weird when somebody has no experience with makeup to like become a makeup person. But whatever. I mean, a girl has to make money. Can't like, I guess, can't knock her hustle, right? But the problem has been is that she had a terrible year, right? Like, we all know what happened in April and May. We've got Nugget Gate is what we call it on at Without a Crystal Ball, with the horrendous death of that dog by her husband, David. And the fallout has been intense. So MTV decides not to film her anymore. She's dropped by some of the sponsorships that she had on Instagram. She is... like anytime she gets a new sponsorship, there's like a host of people that are sending letters and telling them like, do not support this woman, blah, 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 blah. And she lost custody of her kids for a short while, remember that. And the whole time she has been teasing this brow kit and she was putting it on all over social media. She had her JE Cosmetics store, or JE Cosmetics, which actually got taken over by a animal rights activist who posts sort of snarky updates about what's going on with Jenelle because she no longer had, like, she failed to make payments for the domain name. And when she failed to make payments for the domain name, the domain became available, and so they purchased the name of the domain. So she had, but the funny thing is that her old abandoned website, like Jenelle Evans or Jenelle Eason or something, still links to her old the JE Cosmetics website. And so from her website that's for her, it links to the old website link to her cosmetics, and it goes to the now animal rights activist page where they basically like do all kinds of stuff where they talk about what's going on with Jenelle. So Jenelle hasn't updated that website in a long time, but I constantly get emails from you guys like, did you see that? And I'm like, yep, I saw it. But if you want to check it out, you can. Anyways, so if you remember, I actually talked with a YouTuber who did a review of the brow kit. She launched the brow kit during New York Fashion Week on September 9th. Can you believe it's been a month? And in that time, she has sold less than 200 total kits. And the reviews of the product have been utterly terrible. The reviews were done by 2 separate YouTubers, and both talked about how the pencil broke off and had only about an inch of, like a couple, like that much of product. And even trying to swatch it onto their arms, the product broke. There were fibers or hairs that they found in the wax. The products were not properly labeled. So one person that reviewed it had trouble determining which one was the wax, which one was the highlighter. There was a lot of just overall issues with the products, and really, according to people that reviewed it, poor quality. And the price point of $40 was pretty high considering that premier makeup lines like Anastasia, that's how I pronounce it, Beverly Hills, and other like Benefit, which also is sort of a brow guru makeup company, sell their makeup product, their brow stuff for much less. So people were like really sort of annoyed at the price. People started leaving ridiculous comments on our website. And then Jen Hates You, who did the review on YouTube, she got an email, which I showed you last month, that said, "Thanks for the email, and I apologize for the delay response. After what we saw happened in social media, we saw something that our company does not stand for. We have currently cut tie and ended the business relationship with JE Cosmetics. So XJ Beauty has nothing to do with JE Cosmetics as of now. The Shopify store is currently under transfer, but we are still able to refund you. Another thing is that we saw your photo of the product, and we believe those black dots and fibers are from the velvet box and packaging." Now, it should be noted that XJ Beauty is a Chinese company that has headquarters in California. So I can only imagine that some of those typos that were in that email might be related to a non-native English speaker using English to communicate. That's my only thought. Otherwise, they just didn't type, but it's a Chinese company. And then otherwise, so she was using this company to source a cheaper product, which isn't that uncommon in the beauty industry. However, people that do import from China sometimes run into quality issues. Sometimes there's also some good labs, like for instance, Morphe Beauty, or Morphe actually uses labs that are in China. So not all labs in China and not all makeup that comes from China is bad, I should say. It just happens that maybe the lab that she was connected to through XJ Beauty might not have been as great. They say they cut ties with her due to things they saw on social media. It's hard to know, but Radar Online actually said they confirmed that a termination letter was sent to her on September 19th, and that all inventory will be sent to her by October 19th, and so she'll be able to take it over. This is the part that I just don't understand, is like, why would they be cutting ties with her based on like what they saw on social media? Most of the stuff related to social media was like how crappy the product was. And XJ Beauty is the one that's putting out the product. Jenelle theoretically is using them as a private label company, slapping her sort of, her logo on it, and then, selling it as her own. But I mean, why would it? I don't know. I know that there's negative connotations, obviously, going around with what happened with the dog. And around the same time as the launch, David Eason did admit to People magazine that he killed Nugget. So it could have been that. That I think that Jenelle and David, my point of view or my opinion was that they did that round of press to try to clean up their image, but I think it further damaged it because people didn't really believe David's explanation that he was just protecting his family, and his explanation that, he had to euthanize the dog fell flat because we were able to debunk that on this channel. We looked at the laws in North Carolina. It's not the case that you have to euthanize a dog that nips. In fact, you only have to do that if the dog is deemed a dangerous dog, which Nugget was not. And Nugget didn't break skin on Ensley based on the pictures that were shared on Instagram by David. So once people started realizing they were still lying, I think maybe could that have been why the company dropped them? I really don't know. I mean, all of this information was theoretically out there. So for them to use that after the fact seems like an excuse to me. It could be that the product just was not good and they didn't want to be attached to the bad reviews. Who knows? I think both sides in this specific situation probably did not handle themselves the best. And of course, initially, Jenelle said that she denied that they fired her and rather she was cutting ties with them. Well, that was in September. Now on Instagram today, she went online to answer some questions with fans, and she started with answering questions relating to Teen Mom 2. A fan asked, like, how is your family? Are you, like, how is everything going? Family is great. Thanks for your support. And then here's the question is, how has your line been doing, honestly? And she said, honestly, the people that I thought was a great team wasn't. When I did this from the beginning on my own, everything worked out better. I am now taking over my company and not letting anyone else. I am still selling the remainder of the kits, but letting go of the company. New products will be available in a month. So again, conflicting information. She says that she's letting go of the company and they're saying they terminated her. And then the normal question, are you getting a divorce? And then this was something that we talked about yesterday or a couple days ago, is that Jenelle insists that she's getting rid of the clickbait. And a lot of you have asked questions like, because I get these emails from you all the time. Like there'll be something about like Kale's getting a divorce, or they're always posting the ultrasounds and saying they're pregnant, which drives me nuts. And she said, who posts the clickbait articles for you? And she says, there's like 3 to 4 companies. I just don't want to annoy all of you anymore. And no, I'm not pregnant. And that's the one that they've been pushing for months, is that she's pregnant, and it's made people speculate, and she's gained weight. So then people are like, are you pregnant? Are you pregnant? So then the questions go to, I know in a season of Teen Mom, you went to school for medical assisting. Would you do that again? Yes, if I had to. That's why I wanted that as my backup plan. She would have to stay current with her medical assisting license. And I hate to break it to her, but and I'm not knocking people that work as medical assistants, but the income that she would make as a medical assistant pales in comparison to what she had been doing on Teen Mom. I think her salary in the last year was over $400,000. Medical assistants where I live in Minnesota make like $14 to like $17 an hour. Much different pay scales overall. So I'm not quite sure like how that would work out for her. Again, if you are a medical assistant, this is nothing to say, no slam at you. I think medical assistants are phenomenal. I just think she hasn't even kept up with the license from what I know. And then someone said, miss you and Barb on Teen Mom 2. How are you getting along with your mom? Thanks for your support. We've been getting along lately, she said. What's it like having your own cosmetics line? She said, the creative side is fun, but when it comes down to the business, my advice is to be your own business. It's pretty hard to launch your own cosmetic line from scratch. There's only so many labs that produce makeup, and to produce new makeup, if you're not going to if you aren't going to like make your own formulations of like your products, can take years. So it's weird to think that like you would be your own boss. There's really no such thing as your own boss in the makeup industry, because all makeup brands use labs who have formulas that some you can tweak, some you can use what they already make. It all depends on like what you want to do. But overall, I don't know that there's anything such as being your own boss. I think the problem that she had might be that she teamed up with a lab that was in China that might have been offering like a higher return, because you can make a lot more money if you sell products that come from China. The markup return is a lot greater than if you make the products here, because it's obviously more expensive to make the makeup in the United States. Will you do meet and greets? She wants to. And then there's been this question that David knocked her teeth out. She says, I have a retainer on the bottom of my teeth for 6 months to help solve my overbite problems. Then the retainer kept breaking off and chipping. The retainer was a fixed permanent one that looks like my teeth. Ask Kuzma Family Dentistry. Because people said that it looked like she had lost her teeth. I've never seen a retainer that actually looks like teeth, unless it's like one of those Invisalign things. I'm not sure. But she like took to Instagram and showed a photo of her bottom teeth, which proved that she has her teeth. But a lot of speculation has been that David actually knocked the bottom of her teeth out in a fight. And then another comment about Teen Mom 2 is, we miss you on Teen Mom. Any plans to come back, or what's next for you and your family? You would have to ask MTV, not me. I have big plans, but trying to be allowed to do anything freely. So she's teasing about maybe wanting to do something out on her own. Is there any chance of you coming back? You would have to ask MTV. Girl, stop letting whoever posts your SHIT be true to you. I know, every day I'm super annoyed, even thinking I let that happen. I let people walk all over me. It's sad. Are you coming back to Teen Mom Australia? Thank you so much for your support. I want to visit so bad. Would you ever do your own reality show? Yes, I definitely would. And that might be coming up sooner than later. So she's teasing that she is waiting to get out of a contract with Teen Mom to go into her own reality show. I would love to know what network. I mean, I guess there's probably some network that would be willing to work with her, because some networks maybe just don't care. I mean, WeTV picked up Mama June after what happened with Mama June related to her daughter. She was caught with the man that molested her daughter. TLC cut ties with her. She got picked up again by WeTV. So it wouldn't surprise me that another network would come on, but I know that they were in talks to go on to Marriage Boot Camp, but that got nixed, and that is on WeTV. So I'm not sure what network would actually be interested in hosting a reality show, and I don't know what they would have to offer on their own. Why don't you just clear the air yourself? Oh yeah, you need attention. And she said she legally can't. I want to tell you guys everything though. Eventually I will. I don't know what she's talking about here. Like, legally she can't. She could say whatever she wants about the CPS case, because that's over. They're not looking into anything related to the dog. So what is it that you can't clear the air about? Is there something with your cosmetic line dumped you? You're fired from there. So what? I'm just confused why she can't clear the air. She talks about crap related to MTV all the time. I just feel like that's a cop out, Jenelle. My opinion. Do your own show. You'd get more views with your own show than Teen Mom 2 does. She said probably so. And would you ever come to Ireland? Of course. How do you keep your long hair so gorgeous? Who cares? Would you ever start podcasting? I don't know if I can keep up with the commitment. What else do you have going on, Jenelle, that you couldn't do a podcast? Literally. What do you got to do? Feed your goats? Get some chicken eggs? Post on Instagram about how pissed off you are about clickbait? I mean, what else do you have going on, Jenelle? Your makeup line failed. Why don't you do a podcast? Did you and Bree have an authentic relationship if you know their friendship actually went south? And she said yes. Does this mean your IG is done with clickbait? And she said yes. How is your family? We have great support. So there was one question, I must not have put it in there. They asked her about Kale. Like, what's the deal with you and Kale? Like, are you still friends? And she just said, no, like, we're really not friends. We just don't get along. She's not easy to get along with. Like, seriously. She threw shade at Kale and blames Kale for not being able to get along. Although, I will say that sometimes Kale has had the audacity to talk out of turn, and she might be upset that people, after things happened with Nugget, people were telling Kale to take her children. I mean, that's how nasty it got, is that Teen Mom fans were being like, oh, have your sworn enemy take care of your children, and Kale spoke out about it, and obviously she was not supportive of it. I do still find it interesting that the entire cast had absolutely no problem talking about what happened with the dog, but are still not saying a damn word about what's going on with Amber Portwood. And it's just extremely telling to me, like, how they favor people, how they pick sides. I mean, we don't love Jenelle on this channel, but we also know that Jenelle is in a relationship with a man who is abusive, allegedly. And if that's the case, we would hope that her employer or her friends from her work would try to support her. That just doesn't happen. And she's in a position where she's not going to leave him. There's been a lot of questions on, will MTV take her back? And from everything that I've heard, and I haven't heard a ton, was that they thought, like, allegedly, that she would leave him, and had Jenelle left him, MTV might have considered refilming with her. But when she continued and stayed with David, according to the doggy on Twitter, Rue, MTV decided that they could not move forward, and they would cut ties, and that her contract would be up soon, probably this month. So that's where we are right now. You know, as much as I hate all of this, like, as much as it's like fun to, or I don't even know if it's fun, as much as we can think about like all these different things failing for her, I hope that they can find something that sticks, because if she's getting rid of clickbait, she's getting rid of income for her family. If her brow kit fails, that's not money for her family. So, and if her sponsorships have failed, that's not money for her family. So I'd love to know like how she's actually generating income at this point. I don't see sponsorships on her Instagram anymore, so she's not making money that way. Her YouTube channel barely has any content. She doesn't go live. I mean, I don't know really how she has any revenue coming in at this time. I don't know what her bank accounts look like. I can't imagine. Again, I don't know, but I can't imagine they saved a ton. I mean, they dumped a ton of money into that house. It was put onto a property that wasn't suitable for a home. It was only zoned for a temporary housing structure like a trailer, because it has like swampy wetlands kind of. And I don't know. I feel like the next thing is going to be Teen Mom Bankruptcy with Jenelle Eason and David, or they're going to be at like Judge Wapner's. Is that show still on? Anyways, you remember that show? They're going to be at small claims court, like fighting with people about money. You know, if things keep on this trajectory, things are not going to end well for this. I know she's teasing a new reality show. I mean, I guess I would love to know, is that something you guys would even watch? Would you watch Jenelle on a show? I would have a hard time. Like, I would have a really hard time watching David. I don't know that I could support that. I just would no. As an animal lover, I could never. I feel like if she could get away from him, you know, she's taken a lot of steps in her life to like get her life together. So I just like, why are you hanging on to this baggage? Why are you hanging on to this guy that is like dragging your whole life down? Like, Barbara told you that you were going to end up losing everything because of him, and you have, and you're still with him. And I can't figure out why, besides that you love him. I mean, I don't know. I know it's hard when you're in an abusive situation, allegedly, but I would hope at some point she would wake up and realize that maybe the better situation for her and her family would be to be on her own. And I really hope that they find something for her that's, you know, not exploiting her children and putting her in a better situation. So she does know how to pick them. She doesn't have a history with the best men. I mean, I think every boyfriend that she's had, there was Kiefer, and Andrew, Nathan. I mean, they've all been turd buckets. I mean, Nathan was not a good boyfriend at all. I mean, they had physical altercations. Kiefer shot her up on Teen Mom 2. Andrew he's in Florida. He like basically walked out on them. You know, there's just been not a lot. Gary, remember that guy that she dated, Gary, for like 2 minutes? He was a turd bucket. Cortland, who still is constantly getting arrested and is in and out of prison. She just hasn't had a good track record. And I can't help but think that part of that is because she grew up in a home where her mother was involved with a man who was allegedly abusive, and she left him when the kids were still relatively young, but old enough to have witnessed it. And I know that Janelle's talked about how her mother's next relationship was also abusive, and Barbara has talked about that as well on Teen Mom at the reunions with Dr. Drew. So she's kind of repeating a cycle, it seems. So this is where we're at with Jenelle. If I see more, I'll let you know, but let me know in comments, would you watch a reality show with Jenelle?